Catch soap.
Lonely in the darkness of night, I decide to kill myself. I can't live without her. She is my life and my reason for living. So here's my suicide note. Why am I ending my own life? Why did I decide to kill myself tonight after all these years of living on my own terms? The simple answer is because I couldn't take being without her any longer. I never loved anyone but her from the moment we met at college until now. There was a bond between us that made our hearts beat as one. It took me a while before I realized the special love she had for me. But once I did, it wasn't hard for me to know what I wanted out of life. She has always been there beside me through thick and thin, even though most people think I'm crazy when they hear how much she means to me. But if I were to explain it simply, we're soulmates. We were born for each other and have spent our entire lives searching for one another. The only two human beings in existence who could understand each other's thoughts and feelings. When she died suddenly last year, my world fell apart. A gaping hole appeared where part of my heart used to be, which I hadn't noticed until then. Ever since she died, everything about my life has changed. My friends and family members stopped visiting. And more than anything else, I found it very difficult to work. I'd stay up late working overtime every single day and still go home feeling drained just like I would after pulling an all-nighter cramming for an exam. That was my routine ever since she passed away. And then I lost my job too. All the things I once held dear seem so far removed from reality right now. As long as I thought I had something or someone waiting for me somewhere down the line, I could bear living on my own and being lonely at times. But no matter how much time goes by, I can never forget her again. So I decided to visit a person who claimed they can talk to the dead. It seemed silly to me when they first approached me with their offer. They told me that the spirits of the recently deceased sometimes come back to communicate with loved ones who have left this world behind. So I paid them a fee for such a service, hoping to get closure somehow. And then it happened. A few days later, she came through in the form of a ghost wearing a white dress. I'll leave it up to your imagination how we communicated in this way. She apologized over and over for not saying goodbye properly before passing on, and she said she's always watching over me. I know there's no guarantee that what you're reading is actually written by me, but I do promise you that what follows below are true words I've chosen to convey to you from beyond the grave. That night, I asked what I should do to live on without her. But she only had one request of me. You must try harder than anyone else. And she disappeared from view, leaving only her soft fragrance and her last wish lingering in my mind. Unfortunately, the way I interpreted those instructions led me here. How did I interpret them? I thought she wanted me to bring her back to life so that we could be together again. Is that wrong? I began my search for ways to resurrect people who died suddenly or tragically, which resulted in some amazing results. I stumbled across information about something called reanimating technology, which allowed us to temporarily revive corpses after they had died. It was hard work, but eventually, with a little help from my friends, we succeeded in reviving a dead cat by using the equipment provided by these scientists at the Institute of Advanced Reanimations. The next day I dug up my dead wife's body and tried the same thing on her. It took 3 days before I finally revived her completely, just as she used to be when she lived among us. I put her back into bed and held her hand as she slept. Her hair felt warm against my cheek as she gently breathed. This was enough to convince me that I'd made the right choice. She wasn't a ghost. She was alive once more. But then, during her first night back, it all went horribly wrong. She woke me up early in the morning by screaming. A second later, she threw herself out of bed and collapsed on the floor. The moment she came back, she changed from being human to not human. It seemed like every single part of her had turned cold and lifeless. That horrible sight sent me over the edge. I'll never forget how helpless I felt watching my beloved wife die for a second time. And now I can never escape the feeling that there must be something seriously wrong with my mind. I'm sure there is. Maybe I've gone insane because of everything that's happened. If that's true, I don't care what happens anymore. If this is what life is in store for us, we should embrace whatever happiness we find while we still have our health. Please tell everyone that I love them and thank them for everything they did for me. There isn't much more I want to say other than that. Goodbye.